Sometimes while you're troubleshooting, you might need to view the current system configuration, including hardware and running software. In this demonstration, we'll look at 3 tools you can use to quickly view system configuration information. The first tool is MSInfo32. I can just type MSInfo32 in the search here, or I can also go to All Programs, Accessories, System Tools, and System Information. System Information is the same as MSInfo32. The information is organized by type. So I have hardware, components, and software environment. Let's look at some of the hardware information I can see. I can see, for instance, the I/O addresses that are used on my computer. So here is the address and the device that is using that address. I can look at IRQs. So for instance, I can tell that IRQ12 is currently being used by the Dell touchpad. And I can look at memory information to see memory addresses assigned to specific hardware devices. Under components, I can see various hardware components that are installed in my computer. So for instance, if I go to Input, I can see detailed information about the keyboard, the type of device it is, function keys, as well as the IRQ that it's using, and the driver that it's currently using as well. So for instance, I can also look at the ports. In this computer, I can tell that I have one serial port. If I scroll down, I can see that I have a modem installed, and extensive information about that hardware device. One of the interesting things I can see here is the problem devices. It will show me that there is currently one device where the drivers for this device are not installed. So Windows has recognized a device with this name and this plug-and-play ID, but it was unable to load the drivers for the device. I can also look at the software environment. For instance, I can see system drivers, a list of all the drivers and their location. I can see information about my network connections. I can see information about running services. So here is the service as well as its state. In this case, the bits service is running where the application management service is stopped. And I can also look at programs that are set to auto start when the computer reboots. So each of these entries identifies an application that starts every time my computer starts up. Here's the application location in the middle, and the information on the right shows where the application is being loaded. These that start HKLM are being loaded through the registry, whereas these that say Common Startup are being loaded from the Startup menu. The second utility is called msconfig, or Microsoft Configuration Utility. msconfig mainly shows me information about system startup. So I can see, for instance, that I'm currently configured to do a normal system boot. If I wanted to, however, for troubleshooting, I could set it to next time boot in a special manner, for instance, to not load the startup items. The Boot tab shows me the location of the current operating system, in this case the C Windows directory. If I wanted to reboot in a limited version of Windows, I could choose Safe Boot here, and then additional options for how I want the system to start. I'd use these options if I wanted to restart the computer to load maybe a minimum set of drivers and operating system files to help in my troubleshooting. The Services tab is similar to the services information that I saw in System Information. Here's a list of the services along with their state, either running or stopped. The Startup tab shows me all of the applications that are loaded automatically when the system boots, along with the program location and where that program is being loaded. Again, HKLM or HKCU means that the program is being loaded from the registry. Or here, you can see the program is being loaded from the Startup folder on the Start menu. And finally, the Tools tab shows me additional tools that I can launch to help in troubleshooting my system. For example, I can choose System Information and launch MSInfo32. The third tool we'll look at is called DXDiag, or DirectX Diagnostic Tool. DirectX is a programming interface for video and multimedia. So DXDiag, or the DirectX Diagnostic tool, is a tool that helps me identify my multimedia capabilities, which can help in troubleshooting problems with display, audio, and video. I can get some basic information. Again, much of this information I can find in MS Info 32. I can see information about the computer, the running operating system, the BIOS information, and the amount of memory. The Display tab shows me information about my display adapter, including the amount of memory and the driver, as well as my current setting for resolution and color depth. I can also see the DirectX features that have been enabled on this device. So this would be particularly informative if I were troubleshooting games that relied on these advanced programming techniques for displaying information on my screen. I also have information for sound that gives me information about speakers and headphones and the configuration of my sound output devices. And I can also find information about my input devices, mouse, keyboard, Bluetooth devices, as well as USB devices attached to this system. So each of these tools gives me a certain amount of information. System information, or MS Info 32, probably shows me the most amount of information, but it may also be the hardest to work through and find. Again, I can find basic information about my system similar to what I saw in the DXDiag utility. And I can find more detailed information about hardware use and drivers and other devices. Much of this information is available in other places, but the System Information tool shows me a lot of information within a single tool. One last feature here is I can actually save my configuration, and I might use this if I were to send it, for instance, to another organization to help me in troubleshooting. They might be able to look at my system information configuration and identify areas that are problems for me. The System Configuration tool is used largely for controlling how the system starts. It has boot load options for the operating system, information about how services start. For example, I can disable services from starting, and information about programs that start when the computer boots. Again, much of the same information is found within the MS Info 32 tool. For example, on the software configuration, I can view services and startup programs, along with a bunch of other information. And finally, the DirectX Diagnostic tool shows me information about the multimedia capabilities of my system. Again, much of this information is available through MS Info 32, but this tool is targeted specifically towards information related to multimedia, video, audio, and my display devices and their capabilities.